Hey guys, so in this one we're going to continue with the stone blocks and we're going to create those spots on the ground where you have to actually move the block to fire some kind of event. First thing we want to do is create those spots, so let's go to modeling. Let's actually first open the folder, so we can go to meshes and we do have this one with block, we can save it there as well. And I'm going to create a box. This one we can resize to width 200. Actually, let's make it slightly bit bigger so we can see it under the block. So it's going to be 220, 220, and then height can only be like 20. Change this to current folder and press accept. And here we need to create new material, so it actually lights up in dark. For that, I'm going to go to third person materials. I'm going to right click, create new material, and this will be block placeholder underscore M. So this will be called block placeholder. Open it up. Here we're going to change the blend mode to translucent. I'm going to hold 3 on the keyboard and click. That will give us a color. Then connect it to emissive color. We can change this to, I like this kind of color, but change it to whatever you like. And then change the opacity to 0.1, so it's translucent, so you can see through it. But then this emissive color won't be strong enough, so we need to multiply by 20 and connect it back to emissive color. So now you can see it in the dark. It will have its own light, but it is also see-through. So if we apply it to this material, so block placeholder, you can see this is what it will look like, but we will obviously place it in the ground. So first what I want to do is I'm going to edit the pivot. So when you press End key on your keyboard, it will actually position it directly on the ground, so we don't have to move every single block to correct position. So go to Xform. This is kind of hard to select, so just do search for, this is not placeholder. Go to meshes and block. This is box something, so box. And we're going to edit pivot. And what you want to do is move it higher. So when you position the mesh on the ground, it will go under. So maybe something like this. I'm going to accept, and also to bake the material to it, I like to do just duplicate and accept. And I will create the one with the material. This one we can delete, and this one I'm going to name block placeholder underscore SM. And now we have this done. If I delete this one, so again search for block placeholder, because we have moved the pivot point like in the middle, so it's very hard to select. So block, oh, this one is still box, just delete it. And now I'm going to just drag this one out, and as you can see, by default it is positioned under the ground because of the pivot. So if I play the game, all I can see is this spot on the ground. Alright, and it doesn't even stop me or nothing happens, but we'll still disable the collision as well. So now what we want to do is set up some functionality that when we position block on top of it, it will actually activate. So let's actually go to third person, blueprints, actors. This one doesn't need to be interactable because we don't want to have any interact prompt on it or anything like that. We don't need to interact with it. So let's just create new actor, blueprints, blueprint class, and actor. This one will be block placeholder underscore BP. Open it up. In here, I'm going to add static mesh. This static mesh will be block placeholder SM. And now compile and save. We also want to create the point in the middle that will be the box collision that we need to overlap, because we don't want to just overlap with this box, because as soon as we would roll the block next to it here and it would start overlapping, it would actually activate. So we want to just create point in the middle. So add box collision and add it to the static mesh as a child, so it moves with it, and then we'll do it like so. So just make it smaller. Actually, it doesn't need to be that small. It's just so we actually need to go at least to the half with the block. So something like this, maybe even a little bit bigger. And this one will be center center overlap. And let's go to event graph. Then on the center overlap, scroll down, and we're going to do on component begin overlap and on component end overlap. And on begin overlap, we need to check which component we want to overlap, but on the stone block itself. So let's go to stone block BP. In viewport, I'm also going to create one collision, which will be in the middle again, because same reason, I want to move the block actually to the middle part, not just to the side of it. So add one more box collision, and this will be child of the stone block, and this will be center collision. What did I name it here? Center overlap. Doesn't matter. Could be the same. And then on the stone block itself, go to tags on this collision. We're going to add tag, and this will be block. So that will be component with the tag block. And now in the block placeholder, when we begin overlap, we need to check if other component equals, no, sorry, not equals, has tag. So component has tag, block. Make sure you spell it the same way. And then if that component that we are overlapping has actually tag block, we can fire some kind of event. Then copy it. And if it doesn't, if it stops overlapping the same component, we can do something else. So now if I just print string overlap, and here I'm going to do no overlap, we can test it out. First thing though, we need to disable the collision on the block, it's on the placeholder. So go to static mesh, collision, and here we can just set it overlap all. Because even though it's in the ground, it might be like 1 pixel above the ground and it will actually collide with our block, and we're not able to move it up, so it will stop it. So now instead of this, delete it and drag out the actual block placeholder. Again, you can see that it's placing it in the ground nicely. And now I'm going to play the game. Just roll the block there. I need to turn off this function, but you can see there is an overlap now. So it's almost in the middle. So that's working fine. But actually, that placeholder could have probably been bigger. Maybe I'm going to increase the size. We'll see. As long as we can see it under the stone block itself, that's fine, because I want to change the color as well. So now, this is working fine. I'm going to just disable that function that prints the angle. So on check push rotation, if you did the same thing, just remove it from here. Connect it back. And now what we want to do is, basically we don't want to be limited to some kind of actor that we create to like open one door or something like that. We want to create interface that will be able to open basically door or move the ladder or just basically anything you want. For that, we need to go in a block placeholder. We're going to create a new variable. This will be actor to affect. This will just be actor object reference, and it will be instance editable. Alright, so it can be any actor. And after we have actor, what we need also is in the interface. So go to blueprints, interfaces, and in our interact BPI, we're going to create two new events or two new functions. And first one will be activate block. So that will be when we actually move the stone block towards the placeholder. And we're going to have one input which will be integer. And not integer, sorry. Or just activate, doesn't matter. And type integer. And then second one will be execute block event. I'm not sure what to call it. And this will be once we actually completed all the blocks and move them to correct position. This one will just have input of boolean, and it will be should execute. So it can be true or false depending if we just move the block on the placeholder or if we removed it. Now in the block placeholder, we're going to, instead of these print strings, we're going to get this actor to affect, and we're going to call that interface function, which will be activate block. Activate block. Value here will be 1. And then in this one, we're also going to activate block message, but the value will be -1 because we just stopped overlapping it. And now what we're going to do with this is, let's say that we have some actors. So we can add it to this base interactable, and all of the children of this will be able to use it. At the moment, I don't think the doors itself or anything like that we have created before is a child of it. So if I go to items, doors is not the child of the interactable actor. So we can make it a child, or we can actually copy all the functionality here. But for now, I'm just going to add it to the base actor. Let's go to blueprints, actors, base interactable actor. And here I'm going to create two variables as well. And first one will be active blocks, which will be integer, and active or just blocks needed. And these blocks needed will be instance editable. We'll compile and save. And now when we call the interact function, which is activate block, we're going to get active blocks. We're going to add this one, so +1 or -1, and then we're going to set active blocks from it. And then if the active blocks, so this one, if this one is greater, sorry, not greater, if it equals blocks needed, then we can execute that second event, which will be execute block event. We can't just drag it, we need to call it, and we can call it to self, so it will be, we don't have to pass it to anything else, we don't have to pass it any reference, we're just going to execute block event. You uncheck the context sensitive so we can see the message, and it will be this one with the message. and target will be self, get reference to self, and should execute will be true. There we go. Alright, so now basically as soon as we move the block towards the placeholder and we overlap it, this will send it to any base interactable actor and it will add that active blocks. But we need to know which interactable actor we want to affect. But we have set it up. So here, for example, I don't know, the bed is a child of base interactable actor, so I'm going to use the bed. So drag out the bed or any base interactable actor child, and now when I click on this placeholder, I do have this actor to affect because we made it instance editable. You just click on this pick actor from scene, so this dropper, and you can select the bed. And that way, when we move the stone block to this block, it will send a message to this bed that it needs to activate block. So it will add one more. Now, if I just select the bed, here we also have blocks needed. So if I set it to 1, we only need one block to activate. And then, since the bed is child of the base interactable actor, if I open the bed, and I'm just going to call this interface execute block event, which all of these interactable actors are going to have, and we can just execute anything we want. So for now, I'm just going to, I don't know, set actor relative location. Target can be the bed itself, or self, doesn't matter, and Z will be 300, so I'll move it up in the air. And we're not caring about this should execute for now, it will just execute. I'll play the game. And let's just move this block. Alright, and bed is, well, gone. I thought it's going to actually move it 300 up, but it, don't know where it moved it. Alright, because I set the relative location 0, 0, and so it probably moved it to a completely different place, but you can say it was working basically. But what you can do is, obviously any child of this base interactable actor, so it can be door, it can be ladder, it can be anything we want. We can even set it up on this, on the ones we already have, so on the ladders or anything like that, and we can move them down on a timeline. So this event will be very customizable. You can run anything you like. And what we just need to do for this should execute, we need to do one more thing, and that is, if you go to block placeholder first, sorry, not in block placeholder, in the base interactable actor. Here on this event, we need to set up one more variable, which will be Boolean, and this will be is event active. And here we need to get it. We need to do one more branch check. And if true is event, where we need to check it before this. So instead just set it here. Yeah, so if we want to activate it, we need to set is event active, and then on false we will do one more branch. And here, only if the event is active, we want to deactivate it. Because obviously if we move just one block and we need 2, then it would fire false event, and if we set up something like opening and closing door, it would just try to close the door again, so it will move it to wrong rotation or something. So only if the event is active, we're going to set this, like send this message, and we'll deactivate it. So now we have the correct functionality set up. I'm going to add it to the door so we can actually see what can be done with it. So let's go to I have it in items still. I'm going to move it to actors actually. So move here. I'm going to open door. And the way you can add the functionality, either you can reparent it, which is in class settings and you got the parent class. But I'm not sure if it's not gonna screw up our functionality because we do have quite a lot of stuff set up. So instead, I'm just going to do this part here, which is the execute block event. That is the only part that we need. Event activate block, only this. Copy it, door, and here just activate that event. So interface, activate block, and we need to add this. So create variable, create variable, blocks needed will be instance editable, one more variable, and this is pretty much it. So if you want to use any actor with the interface, you just need to copy this. But I think reparenting is easier, I just don't want to mess it up now. Just do this part, and then on execute, activate blocked event. So once the blocks are on the position, we can just, where we got opening the door, we can just do this part. Copy it, paste it, and now branch. Are we executing event? True, we'll play. False, we'll reverse. Compile and save. We will drag out the door. I'm going to remove the bed. And here on the placeholder, I'm going to affect door. On the door itself, we're going to set blocks needed to 2. So blocks needed 2, and we're going to just duplicate one more, add it here. And I'm going to also get one more stone block. And just so I don't have to move it so much, just going to do these two. And then on this placeholder, we just need to check door and door. That's fine. So you just need to select which actor you want to affect. Now I move this one and move it here. I remove overlap, so I don't know if it's on the correct position now. No, that did not work. Let me just quickly check why. So door, event activate block, door active, didn't connect this one. So one more time pushing. So this one should be in. That's the first one. This one should be in. Second one. There we go. Doors are open. Now if I move this out, the doors are closed. See, this is a very powerful system that you can set to whatever you like. And now I think I'll split it again, because the last video will be just changing color of these placeholders and adding sound while the blocks are on it. But it's getting a little bit long again, and the next one will be probably very short, so I'll finish it there. Yeah, and have fun with it. Set it to whatever you like. As I said, you can activate even some kind of video event. So as soon as you activate the blocks, you can play the sequence that will, like, I don't know, drop some rocks from the sky or open the passage, anything you like, because that event that you're setting it to inside these base interactable actors, which is this one, execute block event, can be set to whatever you like on each actor. All right, so I'll see you in the next one. Bye.